Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at a halter neck dress and I'll be using this fabric. So I'll create a channel for the strip that will run around the neck. I'll go downwards from the top edge of my fabric. I'll go downwards 2.5 inches and I'll mark it from the center front to the other edge of it, drawing out a line so that will serve as a guide to fold the channel inwards. Now, because I have this concept of a halter neck in mind, I am measuring 5 inches inwards from the center line, and I'll mark this 5 inches from the top edge of this fabric to the length of the dress. Now I used 2 yards of this fabric, and this 5 inches I measured inwards. On fold makes it 10 inches. Still did not give that fold, the gather, like you can see in this picture. So if you want more, you will need more fabric, and then you of course you will not use 5 inches, you will use more than 5 inches. You can use up to 20 inches, which on fold can be 40, so you will have that fullness. So now, after getting that gather's allowance, I'll fold the channel allowance inwards. Remember, we drew that line so it will be a guide for us when we are folding it inwards. After folding it inwards, just so it will be in one spot, I will pin this down. After that, all the measurements I'll be taking will be from the green line we can see. That green line I measured inwards. Okay, so from that green line I'll be taking all the measurements. So going back to the top edge of this fabric, after I folded in the channel, the strip channel, I'll place a half of my shoulder measurement -1, and I'm placing the same measurement downwards. That's 7 inches. So I will connect the shoulder measurement I have there to the shoulder measurement I have downwards. So I'm connecting that line vertically, and I'll draw it outwards horizontally. That becomes my chest line, and on that chest line I am placing 1/4 of my bust circumference plus 1 inch allowance. And so I will connect the halter neck. I'll go back to the shoulder line and place 3.5 inches for the neck width, and I'll connect that to meet the 1/4 of my bust circumference, which I marked on the chest line. So that's the halter neck. Okay, so now, like I said, I'm placing the measurement I have on my chest line all the way downwards. Okay, so connecting that with a straight line, I'm taking that same thing downwards, and then I will cut it out. I used about 54 inches for this gown length, and I left about 3 inches, so I will use for the strip around the neck. Now remember, I'm using 2, so I'm trying to make do with this. After I have cut that out, remember I cut the front and the back panels together, so I will separate them. Okay, I'll separate them, and then before I will start working on it or taking out my seam allowance, I'll be using this bias to turn the arm curves. All the arm curves, we have about 4 of them. That's 2 for front and 2 for the back. After sewing that, I will need to stop stitch, but I need to show this part of the sewing, okay, because at that corner which we formed as the 2.5 inches for the channel, for the strip channel, you know, we had a sharp corner, so I'm simply gonna notch that part. So I'll notch this on this other edge, and I will notch it on the other arm curve as well. Okay, so you will see it because it's very sharp like an ankle, so it will be relaxed. I need to notch this part. Okay, so after that I will simply top stitch and then turn it inwards and sew it down. When I'm done with turning the arm cuffs, the four arm cuffs, all right, so I'll bring in the front and the back panels together, right side facing right side, the right side of the fabric facing the right side of the fabric. Okay, and then I will need to pin this, and I'll take it to the machine and take out my seam allowance of 1 inch. After that, I will simply fold in the channel, the inches we added for the strip channel, and I'll fold the 2.5 inwards, and then I'll use 1/2 inch so the edge will be neat and just sew it. I hope you understand. So I'll fold the 2.5 inches first. Okay, after that I'm using 1/2 inch to just sew down so the edge will be neat. Okay, and this is what we have. I've sewn out the strip channel like you can see, and there's a hole there. The reason why we had to turn the arm cuff first before we sew out the channels, so they will have that holes with which the strip of fabric will pass through. I've also hemmed the dress using that bias. Okay, and then we'll move over to the strip. So remember I left about 3 inches of this, and I'll fold it inwards, and that becomes 1.5 inches. That's 1.5 inches unfold. So I'll take it to the machine and sew out a 1/2 inch from the top edge from one side of it to the other and close each side. This is what we'd have, and to pass it through the channel, I'll simply pin a safety pin to one edge of the fabric, and then I'll pass it through the channel. You have to pass this aesthetically, all right, like you don't need to fold it or twist it. Just be careful when you're passing it, and then I'll pass it from there to the other edge and then turn the other edge as well. Passing the strip through the channel, you just have to be careful so it will not twist. Okay, so when you get it to the other end, be careful so it will not twist. You will now push it inwards through the other end, through one hole, and push it through the channel, still using that safety pin. Then when you get it to the other end and bring out the strip. So at this point you will need to be sure that the strip is equal. Okay, so when you're tying the knot, it will be okay. So you just remove it, and that's it for the dress. So if this video adds any value at all to you, give me a thumbs up, like and share. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.